You were never meant to beg the universe. That's the illusion, the insidious whisper that keeps you tethered to a reality far smaller than your potential. It's the seed of disconnection, the silent saboteur of dreams, dressed as humble hope. From the moment you drew breath, you were subtly trained to seek validation, to plead for favor from institutions, deities, or forces perceived as external arbiters of your fate. But the profound truth, the liberating revelation, is this. You are not a supplicant, you're a sovereign, a weaver of worlds, a conductor of energy. The universe isn't a cosmic vending machine dispensing rewards to the deserving. It's a boundless, responsive canvas of pure potential, constantly attuned to the energetic signature behind your thoughts, words, and very being. It doesn't answer prayers, it reflects power. And right now, whether you are consciously aware of it or not, it's mirroring you. The distinction between those who realize their vision and those who remain adrift isn't chance, luck, or fervent wishing. It's clarity of intention, consistent energetic frequency, unwavering focus, and authentic alignment. This isn't the realm of magic, it's the elegant mechanics of existence. The fundamental question isn't whether the universe is listening, it's what are you truly communicating? This innate knowing was stolen from you early. The moment you could articulate your needs, the boundaries began to form what you could and couldn't express, what was deemed acceptable, what was considered dangerous. And as your critical thinking blossomed, your mind became a battleground of distractions, endless entertainment, structured lessons, rigid rules, and captivating narratives, all reinforcing the same underlying message. Do not challenge, do not question, do not originate your reality, simply conform. You were conditioned to request, to long for, to await answers that seldom arrived. Education didn't cultivate independent thought, it fostered obedience. Repeating information was rewarded, challenging assumptions was penalized. Your imagination was dismissed as a distraction, your daydreams as signs of disarray. But what they deliberately concealed was that those very daydreams were rehearsals, embryonic blueprints, the first glimpses of your inherent ability to manifest reality from the ether of thought. They preached that divinity resided outside you, that creation was a closed chapter, a distant event, that power was the exclusive domain of others. And in the void left by that deception, they erected structures, systems, hierarchies. You were told who to trust, what to fear, what defined success, what constituted failure. None of it was authentically yours, yet it became the scaffolding of your limiting beliefs. And belief ultimately dictates everything. Because if you believe in your insignificance, your voice will reflect that self-doubt. If you perceive the universe as distant and uncaring, you'll whisper your desires when you should be commanding your destiny. If you harbor feelings of unworthiness, you'll unconsciously repel the very blessings you seek. The system isn't malfunctioning. It was meticulously designed to silence the divine spark within you. You weren't simply taught how to live. You were programmed to forget you were ever given a choice. Reflect on this. You've likely spent much of your life anticipating a shift, yearning for a sign, waiting for the opportune moment, the perfect version of yourself to finally emerge. But waiting is the antithesis of creation. It is silence masquerading as strategic patience, and silence is the initial symptom of surrender. Each instance of hesitation echoes doubt into the field. Each postponement registers as confusion, and confusion breeds noise, which in turn generates contradiction, and ultimately, stagnation. This explains why the universe appears to favor some while ignoring others, not because of inherent worthiness or capricious luck, but because of clarity of signal, an unwavering command. The field reflects, it amplifies, it obeys the strongest signal. And that signal invariably emanates from the one who remembers their true nature. I am not here to petition, I am here to decree. Some truths are too potent to be fully contained within this space. For access to the deeper, uncensored knowledge, join Insights Academy, our complimentary newsletter where authentic wisdom thrives. As a special bonus, you'll receive a digital edition of the Sibelian, available for a limited duration. See the links below. They didn't simply conceal the truth. They buried it beneath layers of guilt, shame, and ritualistic dogma. They cloaked power in arcane doctrine and cautioned against its inherent danger. But it's not perilous, it's precise. It's a fundamental energetic principle. Just as gravity binds you to the earth, your words shape your reality into tangible form. And like gravity, it operates regardless of your belief system. It responds to utilization, not empty worship, contrived rituals or memorized incantations. It responds to the self that dares to function as the source, not merely an extension of it. You are not intended to exist passively, to navigate life as if it were a maze meticulously constructed by someone else. You are not a subordinate of energy. You are the sovereign speaker who directs its flow. And the longer you diminish yourself, the more forcefully your life will echo that self-imposed silence. Now is the time to retrieve what has been buried. The ancient masters didn't yearn, they proclaimed. They didn't merely visualize, they embodied. Their words were not wishes. They were potent instruments, refined tools, encoded frequencies precisely aimed into the infinite field. This is what has been obscured, but forgetting is not synonymous with losing, and the very act of forgetting implies the potential to remember. The universe isn't observing you from a detached perspective. It's continuously responding to you, instantaneously, without judgment. It doesn't await your best day or your most polished persona. It mirrors what you project now, in this very moment, exactly as you are not what you aspire to be, not what you believe you deserve, but what your energy and focused attention declare as real. You've been programmed to seek external validation before embracing belief. But belief isn't a response to evidence, it's the initiating signal that manifests it. Your point of focus expands, not through some mystical process, but through the irrefutable principles of quantum mechanics. In quantum physics, the observer effect transcends mere theory. It's a fundamental law. The act of observation transforms potential into definitive form. What existed solely as possibility solidifies, becomes tangible, becomes real the instant conscious attention is applied. And this requires not unwavering belief, but unwavering focus. Energy invariably follows attention. The field makes no distinction between right and wrong, good and bad. It responds solely to intensity, clarity, and consistent repetition. It's that simple. Just as a remote control operates without bias, simply reflecting your chosen channel, your consciousness shapes the very fabric of your reality. Most people navigate their lives as if they were at the mercy of external forces, uttering phrases like, "I'll believe it when I see it." But quantum law dictates the opposite. You'll see it because you first believed it. Each thought, each emotion, each expectation transmits a signal into the field. The majority of people inadvertently broadcast signals riddled with doubt, contradiction, and emotional static, then express bewilderment when their lives manifest as chaotic reflections of that inner turmoil. But the field is impeccably precise. It returns precisely what you broadcast. This explains why individuals who possess seemingly irrational certainty often mold reality to mirror their unwavering conviction. It's not arrogance, it's authentic alignment. Their signal remains constant and unwavering. They don't plead with the field, they program it. They articulate their reality in absolutes, not out of delusion, but from a deep understanding of the underlying principles. They are not passively hoping to receive, they are actively deciding to create. And the field, acting as a perfect mirror, adapts accordingly. Everything you currently perceive in your life is a manifestation of old data, outdated signals brought to life. You're not witnessing reality as it is. You're observing the reverberations of your past output. This means your future is already in motion, shaped by your current focus. The majority of people never disrupt this self-perpetuating cycle. They react to the echoes of the past, inadvertently recreating it with each thought, each complaint, each fear cloaked as realism. But you have the power to choose otherwise. You can override the programmed loop. Your mind isn't a mere processor, it's a powerful transmitter. Its purpose isn't to passively interpret reality, it's to actively project it. You are not a passive observer, you are the active broadcaster. And the universe is your screen. Whatever you place on the internal projector of your consciousness becomes the image that manifests in physical form. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's demonstrable physics. Energy naturally seeks resonance. The field responds unfailingly to input. You've simply been operating your remote on autopilot, but now you have the opportunity to interrupt the ingrained patterns, to recognize that every repeated worry is a prayer for precisely what you seek to avoid. Every persistent fear is a direct request for its own manifestation. And each time you consciously choose to believe that your desires are already en route, you accelerate the convergence of timelines to meet them. This isn't about deluding yourself with false affirmations. It's about consciously selecting the reality you wish to energize. Your current reality isn't fixed. It's simply the cumulative effect of the dominant vibrational patterns you've consistently repeated. Alter the input, disrupt the pattern, transform your life. You weren't placed here to passively observe reality. You were placed here to actively alter it. And once you cease reacting and begin broadcasting with deliberate intention, the world shifts accordingly. Not because it's inherently benevolent, but because that's the immutable law. It's time to abandon the role of spectator and master your remote. They want you to believe it's an esoteric practice, that manifestation is some fringe spiritual concept accessible only to enlightened individuals or those fortunate enough to be born with a predisposed vibration. But manifestation isn't shrouded in mystery. It isn't wishful thinking. It's not about blindly believing in miracles. It's about mastering the fundamental principles of energy, clear, focused, directed energy. That's the defining difference between those who actively shape their lives and those who perpetually await permission to even attempt. Manifestation isn't driven by fleeting emotion, it's fueled by unwavering intention. And authentic intention transcends a mere fleeting thought embellished with hope. It's the conscious decision to impress a specific command onto the field, devoid of any underlying contradiction. You've likely experienced it before, perhaps unconsciously. Remember moments when everything seemed to align perfectly? When synchronicities unfolded seamlessly? When events transpired swiftly and precisely as you envisioned? That wasn't mere chance, that was clarity. That was you, however briefly, accidentally emitting a signal strong enough to override your internal noise. The vast majority of people believe they are setting intentions, but in reality, they are unintentionally begging with confusion. They profess a desire for abundance while simultaneously fixating on lack. They declare a yearning for love while perpetuating the very vibrations of fear and abandonment. The words convey one message, the energetic signature conveys another, and the field doesn't respond to hollow words. It responds to coherence, the authentic feeling underpinning the thought, the consistent frequency behind the articulated phrase. This is why clarity invariably triumphs over superficial positivity. You can recite affirmations endlessly, but if your underlying energy is frantic, fragmented, and uncertain, nothing will manifest. The signal short circuits before it ever reaches resonance. This is why ancient initiates placed such profound emphasis on the cultivation of pure intention. Hermetic philosophy wasn't founded on blind faith, it was built on precision, mental discipline, and energetic purity. The ancients understood that the mind was the ultimate instrument of creation, and intention was its sharpest edge. That's why fully embodied intention transcends a mere wish. It feels like a decree, an inherent knowing, a quiet, unshakable resolve that reality cannot ignore, not because it's expressed loudly, but because it's unwavering. Intentional energy functions like a finely tuned tuning fork. The more precise the frequency, the more rapidly the field generates a matching resonance. But most people inadvertently flood the field with a torrent of emotional noise, doubt, distraction, what-ifs, and anxiety, then wonder why nothing solidifies. The universe doesn't reject you. It simply struggles to decipher a scrambled signal. When your intention becomes pure, stripped of second-guessing, detached from specific timelines and desired outcomes, it transforms into law, not in some poetic or symbolic sense, but in the literal, energetic structure of the quantum field. The field is impersonal. It doesn't reward the virtuous or punish the wicked. It simply organizes itself around the dominant intention. You are either transmitting a strong, coherent signal or you are not. There is no middle ground. You've likely witnessed this phenomenon in others, those who move with unwavering purpose, who articulate their intentions with precision, whose actions align flawlessly with their words, and who carry themselves as if their desires are already manifest. They are not feigning confidence, they are aligning their energy. And life bends accordingly because the field cannot ignore clean, coherent code. It responds more rapidly to clarity than charisma, more readily to stillness than ceaseless striving. So pose this question to yourself. What do you truly desire? And more importantly, can you maintain that intention without diluting it with doubt and conflicting energies? Can you allow it to remain clear and unshaken by the cacophony of external noise? Because if you can, everything will begin to shift. Not because you've earned it, Not because you've waited patiently, but because energy inherently obeys structure. Intention is the foundational structure. It is the blueprint that shapes the manifestation of form. You are not waiting for a miracle to occur. You are waiting for yourself to cease transmitting static. Articulate your desire once, embody it completely, live as if it were already fulfilled, and refrain from contradicting it. This is how you collapse timelines. This is how you transform outcomes. This is how you evolve from passive observer to active architect of your reality. Your words are not mere sounds. They are not simply tools for communication or social interaction. They are powerful spells, encoded programs, vibrational frequencies that imprint themselves upon the quantum field, regardless of your conscious awareness. Each sentence you utter is either strengthening your desired reality or subtly undermining it. Each phrase you repeat becomes a self-reinforcing pattern that the universe faithfully mirrors back to you. And the vast majority of people remain oblivious to the profound destruction they inflict with their thoughtless pronouncements. You were taught to perceive language as neutral, as simply a means of labeling objects and concepts. But ancient traditions understood the profound truth. Words possess inherent creative power. In Hermetic science, the spoken word was considered the genesis of all creation. In sacred texts and mystery schools, the word invariably preceded the world. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Why? Because sound is vibration, and vibration possesses the capacity to manipulate matter. Your subconscious mind doesn't filter language for context. It doesn't discern sarcasm, doubt, or underlying insecurity disguised as humor. It accepts what you repeatedly articulate, internalizing it as absolute truth. I'm perpetually broke. I'm inherently flawed in relationships. This always happens to me. You may perceive these statements as mere venting, but in reality, you are actively coding your reality, providing the field with precise instructions for replication. The more emotionally charged the statement, the more rapidly it embeds itself within your subconscious. And the more deeply it embeds, the more autonomously it operates, subtly shaping your experiences while you attribute the resulting circumstances to misfortune or bad luck. Words are not passive. They activate neural pathways. They transmit energy into tangible form. This is why affirmations, mantras, and deliberate declarations possess inherent power, not due to some mystical property, but because they represent consistent inputs into the energetic system. You're either speaking life into existence or perpetuating limiting loops. And if you are not consciously aware of your linguistic patterns, you are likely echoing the ingrained programming of others. Phrases inherited from your parents, your educators, your cultural environment, words spoken over you so repetitively that you unknowingly adopted them as your own, without ever questioning their validity. When you declare "I am," whatever follows that statement becomes your direct instruction to the field. I am exhausted. I am perpetually behind. I am fundamentally inadequate. These are not simply emotional outbursts. They are powerful declarations. And the universe doesn't interpret them as mere complaints. It perceives them as concrete construction orders. The phrase "I am" is sacred. It is not casual. It is the gateway to manifestation. When you articulate "I am," you are not merely describing, you are commanding. The power of language resides not in its poetic beauty, but in its unwavering precision. When you speak without clarity, the field responds with predictable confusion. When you speak with unwavering force, unwavering focus, and complete alignment, the field has no recourse but to shift. This explains why certain individuals need only articulate something once for it to begin to unfold, because there exists no underlying contradiction in their energetic field. Their words are reinforced by unwavering belief, powerful emotion, and aligned action. That kind of intentional speech generates unstoppable momentum. That kind of speech cuts through the pervasive noise of doubt and uncertainty. But you don't need to attain perfection. You simply need to cultivate intentionality. Pay close attention to the phrases you habitually repeat. Listen attentively to your self-talk when you are feeling frustrated, exhausted, or plagued by self-doubt. That is the very language that is actively shaping your life. Rewrite it, recode it. Replace "I can't" with "I am actively learning." Replace "I'm trapped" with "I am currently realigning." Speak not merely with hopeful optimism, but with clear direction. Speak as the sovereign architect of your experience, not as the helpless victim of your circumstances. And it's not solely about what you express outwardly. Your inner dialogue wields even greater power because it is unfiltered. The thoughts you whisper to yourself in moments of solitude, those represent the purest energetic signals. That is the authentic programming. Cleanse it, redirect it. Assume conscious control of the narrative that plays within your mind and begin to articulate the version of yourself you are actively evolving into, not the version you are desperately trying to escape. The field is perpetually listening. Every word is a command. The only remaining question is whether you are consciously utilizing your voice to create your desired future or inadvertently perpetuating your limiting past. You've undoubtedly encountered the phrase, "Match the frequency of what you desire, and you will inevitably attract it." It's been emblazoned across countless motivational posters, whispered during yoga classes, casually tossed into conversations as if it were merely a metaphorical concept. But it is not a metaphor. It is a fundamental formula. It represents the actual mechanism underpinning the very fabric of reality. Every single thing that exists, from the chair beneath you to the life you aspire to manifest, possesses a unique frequency, a distinctive vibrational blueprint, and so do you. The only remaining question is, are you actively matching that desired frequency, or are you inadvertently repelling it? Vibration transcends mere fleeting mood. It's not about forcing insincere smiles, suppressing genuine emotions, or pretending to be content when you are not. It's not superficial. It's not manufactured positivity. It represents the prevailing emotional, mental, and energetic atmosphere you inhabit on a daily basis. It's your habits, your automatic reactions, your ingrained thought patterns. It's the unconscious signals your nervous system broadcasts, even when you are not consciously aware of it. That is what the universe reads with unwavering accuracy. That is the energetic signature it locks onto. When your inherent vibration inherently contradicts your stated desires, nothing can manifest. You may profess a desire for freedom, yet vibrate with underlying fear. You may yearn for abundance, yet vibrate with ingrained scarcity. You may seek love, yet vibrate with deep-seated abandonment. The universe isn't deliberately rejecting you, it's simply interpreting your energetic signature, and it invariably delivers a reality that aligns with your predominant signal. Consider the analogy of tuning a radio. If your dial is set to 91.2 FM, you will not be able to hear what is broadcasting on 103.7, not because the other station doesn't exist, but because you are not attuned to its specific frequency. That's what the majority of people unconsciously do with their aspirations. They remain fixed on the incorrect frequency, perpetually waiting to receive signals that cannot reach them in their current state. They believe that manifestation is about attracting something from the external world, when in reality it is about aligning yourself internally to receive what is already present, readily available. The version of you who already possesses what you desire already exists in a parallel timeline. The potential reality is already real. The only barrier separating you from that reality is energetic alignment. Nikola Tesla wisely stated, "If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." He didn't emphasize emotion. He didn't highlight strenuous effort. He specifically mentioned frequency, because that is the fundamental language that reality understands. Your physical body functions as a powerful transmitter. Your thoughts, emotions, and deeply held beliefs represent the encoded message it constantly broadcasts. Transform the code, and the resulting feedback will inevitably transform. This isn't merely esoteric spiritual language, it's irrefutable neurological fact. Your brain functions as an intricate electrical network. Your heart emanates a measurable electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your physical form. You are constantly radiating a message into the vast expanse of space. You've simply not been taught to consciously control it, but you absolutely possess the potential to do so. And it begins by cultivating heightened awareness of how you authentically feel, not in a superficial, fleeting way, but in the way you inherently exist. What is the predominant state you inhabit when you are not consciously trying to control your emotions? That represents your dominant energetic frequency. And you don't need to feign artificially elevated vibrations. You need to fundamentally transform your baseline. When you elevate your baseline frequency, reality will inevitably bend to accommodate it. It's not about superficial intensity. It's about unwavering consistency. You don't need to shout your intentions. You simply need to become the vibrational frequency that no longer inherently contradicts them. Begin by observing the gap, the discrepancy between the person you profess to be and the authentic energetic frequency you emanate. If you encounter resistance, that is the signal. If you experience anxiety, self-doubt, or persistent hesitation, that is precisely where the energetic mismatch resides. And that is not a sign of failure. It is a valuable compass, a tool for navigating your inner landscape. The resistance isn't blocking your progress. It's directing you toward precisely what needs to be released, rewritten, or realigned. Embrace it, adjust your course, and then consciously anchor yourself into the newly established state. Because when your vibration becomes undeniable, the universe ceases to hesitate. Reality ceases to falter. The right people, the ideal opportunities, and the perfect moments will begin to orchestrate themselves around the energetic signal you consistently hold, not because you are somehow inherently fortunate, but because you are in a state of complete resonance, because you have ceased transmitting conflicting signals and have begun to embody the authentic frequency of the version of yourself who already possesses what you desire. The universe doesn't provide you with what you believe you deserve, it provides you with what you are a vibrational match for. You don't attract what you merely want, you attract what you are. So transform yourself into the frequency and watch as the corresponding results become you. Hoping is the language of the powerless. It sounds innocuous enough, even virtuous. It feels humble, even seemingly spiritual. I hope it works out in my favor. I hope the universe hears my humble plea. I hope this particular time is different. But beneath the veneer of hope lies a subtle surrender. An underlying belief that you lack control over your subsequent reality, that all you can do is wish fervently, and perhaps some external force will deign to bestow its favor upon you. That is not manifestation, that is learned helplessness disguised in spiritual platitudes. You were never destined to hope. You were destined to decree. Hoping implies lingering uncertainty. Commanding implies unwavering identity. Hope hesitates, waiting passively. Command speaks with unwavering authority. And here is the uncomfortable truth that many prefer to avoid. The vast majority of individuals who believe they are actively manifesting are in reality merely waiting politely for permission. They embellish their efforts with vision boards and inspirational quotations, but the underlying energy remains fragile, dependent, and fundamentally uncertain. The law of attraction, as it is currently packaged and marketed within mainstream spirituality, has been diluted to the point of utter ineffectiveness. It achieved widespread popularity not because of its profound power, but because of its inherent safety, because it demands nothing of you beyond superficial belief and a forced smile. It transformed a potent sacred technology into a feel-good slogan. It removed the essential responsibility and the required discipline. It assured people that if they simply entertain positive thoughts and behave nicely, the universe will inevitably reward them. But the universe isn't a vending machine, it's a flawless mirror, and it mirrors frequency, not mere politeness. This explains why so many lament, "I earnestly attempted to manifest, but it simply didn't work." What they are really conveying is, I politely asked, patiently waited, fervently hoped, and took absolutely no conscious action to transform my underlying energetic state. They fixated on desired outcomes, neglecting the critical importance of energetic resonance. They mistakenly believed that manifestation was about fleeting desire, when in reality, it is about inherent dominion, not control through forceful exertion, but alignment so profound that reality has no alternative but to shift. Because when you communicate with authentic authority, the field immediately recognizes you. It doesn't respond to desperate longing. It responds to unwavering certainty. You have been conditioned to believe that certainty is synonymous with arrogance, that articulating your desires with unwavering confidence is a sign of delusion or unwarranted entitlement. But confidence isn't arrogance, it's simply clarity, and clarity is inherently magnetic. When you eliminate the energetic wobbles, when you cease hoping and begin decreeing, the entire tone of your life transforms. You transition from pleading to directing, from passively waiting to actively generating. Command doesn't equate to demanding. You are not barking orders at the cosmos. You are embodying the authentic frequency of your desired outcome with such unwavering consistency that the external world is compelled to reflect it. You become unshakable, not emotionally reactive, not energetically inconsistent, but solid, like a perfectly tuned tuning fork that never falters. You articulate it once, and then you live as if it is already your manifested reality. That represents genuine commanding. That represents manifestation without any disruptive noise. Observe those around you who intentionally shape their lives. They don't beg for change, they decide on it. They don't endlessly explain their desires, they walk purposefully within them. They don't manifest by accident, they manifest by immutable law. They have progressed beyond the superficial teachings and have delved into the fundamental architecture of reality. They speak, and things invariably move, not because they are somehow special, but because they have consciously chosen to command. And here is precisely what that looks like. It looks like articulating your desires without apologizing for them. It looks like stating, "This is what I am creating," instead of, "I really hope this happens sometime in the future." It looks like consciously removing the emotionally charged word "if" and replacing it with the confident assurance of "when." It looks like embodying the inherent identity of the person who already possesses the desired outcome, rather than waiting for it to materialize as permission to finally believe in your inherent worthiness. You can journal until your writing instrument runs dry, visualize until your eyelids ache, and meditate for countless hours. But if you continually return to doubt, self-diminishment, and a perpetual need for external permission, the field will unceasingly reflect that back to you. Manifestation doesn't occur when you are in the right frame of mind. It occurs when your underlying frequency becomes the unequivocal instruction, not the wavering question. When your words transform into decrees, not mere requests. When your underlying energy communicates, "This is already inherently mine," rather than, "I desperately hope I am somehow worthy of receiving this." Hope feels comfortably familiar because it absolves you of responsibility. But that comfort is a subtle trap. It keeps your inherent power dormant and your desired future indefinitely delayed. Step beyond the limitations of hope. Step into the boundless potential of command. Communicate like a divine being, not because you require the universe's approval, but because you are consciously remembering a fundamental truth. The universe already unfailingly responds to you. The universe doesn't cease operating when you cease speaking. It doesn't pause when you become distracted or disengaged. The field doesn't slumber, doesn't wait patiently, doesn't excuse contradictions simply because you didn't consciously intend them. It listens perpetually, not to your polished intentions or the affirmations you display on your wall, but to your most frequent thoughts, your habitually repeated narratives, and the underlying energy you radiate in moments of solitude when you believe no one else is observing. Every thought is a prayer. Every emotion is a command. Every deeply held belief is a mold that shapes the reality that unfailingly forms around you. People mistakenly believe they are only manifesting when they deliberately engage in specific practices, such as lighting a candle, writing in a journal, or articulating their goals aloud. But manifestation isn't a ritualistic practice, it's a continuous broadcast. You are not activating it at specific intervals. You are tuning into an omnipresent frequency. You are always creating, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. Even when you perceive yourself as merely reacting to external circumstances, that downward spiral of self-doubt you experience when you awaken late, that pervasive feeling of unworthiness when someone disregards your message, that low-level hum of anxiety that permeates your to-do list, all of it constitutes an energetic signal. All of it is destined to manifest into tangible form. The field is not inherently moral. It is fundamentally mathematical. It doesn't prioritize your peak moments, it calculates the average of your dominant frequency. That is why one isolated moment of clarity and empowered intention is insufficient if it is surrounded by countless hours of worry, self-recrimination, and fear of the unknown future. You might articulate, "I am abundant," once each morning. But if you spend the remainder of the day obsessing over pending bills, replaying narratives of scarcity, and fearing future financial instability, what energetic signal do you believe the field is predominantly receiving? This is precisely where the majority of people err. They treat reality like a mood ring, believing it simply reflects their passing emotions in specific moments. But reality reflects persistent patterns, not fleeting spikes. It responds to the consistent rhythm of your mind, not the occasional highlights of your hopeful intentions. This inherently means that your authentic work is not about striving to force artificially positive thoughts, but about consciously dissolving the deeply ingrained patterns that are constantly draining your energetic reserves. You don't need to attain some unattainable state of perfection. You simply need to cultivate unwavering consistency. And to cultivate consistency, you must first develop profound awareness. Start by noticing the habitual loops, the recurrent mental scripts you automatically run when events do not unfold as you desire, the manner in which you habitually speak about your life when you are feeling frustrated or depleted. That is your persistent prayer. That is the code you are currently writing into the energetic field. And the field doesn't simply take notes, it unfailingly executes your commands. You may perceive yourself as merely expressing how you feel, but energetically you are authorizing the perpetuation of more of the same. That habitual complaint, that sarcastic remark, that subtle pessimism you rationalize as simply being realistic, those are all powerful commands. They don't simply describe the present reality, they actively reinforce it. But here is the essential element that is often omitted from the teachings. The instant you consciously transform the ingrained script, the broadcast signal is instantaneously altered. Not when you have achieved some elusive state of perfection, not when you have completely healed every past wound. The very moment you consciously choose a new, energetic baseline, the field immediately begins to reorganize itself accordingly. And it doesn't require years of dedicated effort. It simply requires unwavering intention, heightened awareness, and the disciplined refusal to continue arguing for your self-imposed limitations. This is the profound power of presence, not as an ethereal spiritual escape, but as a strategic, energetic shift. When you become fully present, you interrupt the ingrained auto-programming. You effectively halt the detrimental signal that has been unconsciously running in the background and consciously insert a new one with unwavering clarity and authentic authority. The instant you catch yourself looping in unproductive thoughts and consciously choose a different path, you collapse an old, undesirable timeline and initiate the creation of a new, more aligned one. The more consistently you practice this, the more powerfully your energetic signal will become. And the stronger your signal, the more rapidly the corresponding results will manifest. You are not simply thinking, you are consciously coding. You are not merely feeling, you are consistently emitting. The field remains indifferent as to whether you are consciously aware of this dynamic, it is still relentlessly responding. So the essential question is not, is it working? But rather, what am I truly communicating through my dominant energetic state? What is the predominant command I have been consistently transmitting? What is the underlying vibration I have inadvertently allowed to become my ingrained normal? This is where authentic mastery begins, when you consciously recognize that manifestation is not something you occasionally do, but something you are unceasingly engaged in. That the universe is not ignoring you, but is simply being unfailingly obedient to your commands. That your life is not inherently stuck, but is merely accurately reflecting the energetic blueprint you have most consistently repeated. And once you consciously recognize that profound truth, you can cease waiting for external signs and begin consciously becoming one yourself. There invariably arrives a pivotal juncture in your journey where simply remembering your inherent power is no longer sufficient, where knowing the truth is not actualized power until it is consciously spoken, authentically lived, and fully embodied. You have witnessed how the energetic field operates. You have undoubtedly felt moments where complete alignment is achieved, where the world seemingly rearranges itself in response to a conscious decision, where something you previously perceived as impossibly distant moves closer as if it has been patiently awaiting your specific signal. And now it is time to fully embrace what the majority of people spend their entire lives consciously avoiding: ownership. Full and unwavering ownership of your true role, not as a passive creation of external reality, but as its conscious creator. This represents the pivotal shift that differentiates those who merely dabble in the superficial teachings from those who build empires, who facilitate profound healing, who create groundbreaking innovations, who manifest their desired realities not sporadically or by chance, but through the consistent application of universal law. They don't supplicate the universe. They don't anxiously chase after elusive signs. They consciously become the sign itself. Their underlying energy is not characterized by anxious asking. It is defined by unwavering authorization. It is not broadcasting doubt. It is consciously writing reality with every carefully chosen word, every deliberately aligned action, every silent inner agreement. And here's the uncomfortable truth that many will consciously avoid admitting. You are already doing this. You are already actively commanding the field. You are simply doing so from a disempowered script. Every time you proclaim, "I can't achieve that," "It never works out for me," or "That's just the kind of person I inherently am," you are stamping a clear and unmistakable command into the very energetic architecture of your life. The universe doesn't question your assertions. It doesn't resist your claims. It simply responds with unwavering obedience, as you wish, and then immediately moves to perfectly match your decree. Because the field is not inherently interested in your superficial wants, it is unceasingly obedient to what you consistently claim. And you have likely been claiming your self-imposed limitations with far more consistency than you have been claiming your authentic desires. Speaking as the conscious creator inherently means reclaiming your authentic voice, not for the sake of egoic gratification, not for empty external validation, but for the pure expression of profound truth. Because the true creator has no need for external applause. It requires no reassurance or external validation. It inherently knows that what it consciously creates will inevitably manifest into tangible reality. It communicates with calm certainty, not forceful exertion. It deliberately decides and then meticulously aligns its every action with that conscious decision. And from that state of unwavering alignment, circumstances invariably shift, not due to sheer willpower, but because reality has no other alternative. You are not destined to passively wait for your dream life to gently tap you on the shoulder. You are destined to summon it forth like an unstoppable force of nature. You are destined to become the specific frequency that magnetizes parallel timelines, collapsing them into your present reality. And you don't accomplish that by mindlessly repeating affirmations you don't inherently believe. You accomplish it by becoming too thoroughly aligned to contradict, too deeply anchored to waver. That is precisely what speaking as the conscious creator inherently means, not communicating louder but expressing yourself with greater clarity, not striving to accelerate the process but delving into its depths with unwavering commitment. This doesn't necessitate some unattainable state of perfection. It simply requires unwavering honesty. It means consciously catching the subtle moments you diminish your language to avoid discomfort, the instances you soften your authentic truth so that others won't feel somehow threatened by it, the times you unconsciously suppress your innate command because somewhere deep within you are still subtly fearful that it might not actually manifest. Release that fear. That fear is merely residual energy, noise from a previous version of yourself who didn't possess the knowledge you now possess, that the energetic field listens far more attentively to the silent conviction residing within your very bones than it does to the mere volume of your articulated words. So speak as if it is already complete. Act as if it is already present. Align your thoughts, feelings, and actions as if your very existence depends on it, because it unequivocally does. The timeline you consciously step into next will not be determined by your strenuous effort. It will be determined by your predominant frequency, your habitual language, your unwavering ability to consciously hold the vibrational essence of the Creator, not the creation. Because when you consciously communicate as the divine source, the universe will not hesitate. It will unfailingly respond, not at some indefinite point in the future, not eventually, when all conditions are somehow perfect, now. And if you have persevered and arrived at this point, you are undeniably one of us. Subscribe to Insights Academy, our complimentary newsletter meticulously curated with deeper wisdom that cannot be fully expressed within this format. Okay, here's a conclusion for your essay incorporating your requests. So let's recap. You are not meant to beg the universe. You are the conductor, the creator, the sovereign speaker of your own reality. Stop whispering wishes and start declaring your destiny. It's all about shifting from a place of hoping and waiting to a place of clarity, intention, and unwavering focus. The universe isn't a vending machine, it's a mirror, reflecting back the energetic signature you're consistently sending out. It's time to remember who you truly are, the one who commands, not the one who pleads. What resonated most with you in this exploration? Do you have any questions about anything we've covered? I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, or any aha moments you had in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. And if this message sparked something within you, and you want to dive even deeper into unlocking your potential, be sure to subscribe. That way you won't miss out on future insights and discussions as we continue to explore how to truly become the architects of our own lives. Thanks for being here.